And welcome back, and it is the 28th of March. It is the Further Maths 5 a day, and let's just go straight with the first question. What do we have here? So here's a graph of, gives me a graph, work out the coordinates of the point A. Now, let me just zoom in. Okay, that is indeed a number. So that's 4 over 3 and minus 2. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to write 4 over 3, 0, and minus 2, 0, just so I don't make a silly error when I'm trying to copy it badly. Okay. Here's a graph of work out the coordinates of A and B. Right, two ways of doing this. What I'm going to call the easier way and the harder way. And obviously the easier way is better. Both will work. The harder way is I put the values into here, the x and the y values, simultaneous equation, solve the simultaneous equation. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. The other way is I remember that these are roots. So that means if these are roots, I can write my equation factorised as x plus 2, because I've got a minus 2 here. And although it's not very nice, I could write this as x minus 4 over 3. Now, because there's a 3 here, I have to be careful, because actually this isn't a positive x squared. In other words, it doesn't do that. It's a sad face, or however you might describe it in your lessons. So actually, there's two things I'm going to do here. So I'm not going to write it like this. I'm going to leave that up there so you can see what I've done. I'm going to write it as x plus 2, and then I'm going to switch these two around. So I'm going to do 4 over 3, but I'm also going to multiply it by 3 because I've got 3x here. So that's going to give me 4 minus 3x. Now, pause the video there. Just check you're okay with what I've done there. Check you're okay with how I've sort of put that together. But I'm noting the 3 that's in the x before the x squared, and I'm noting the shape of the curve. This is a devilishly difficult question in the way that it's set up, but a good understanding question. I like this question. Either way, that is equal to, well, expand it, so that's going to be 4x. X times minus 3x is minus 3x squared. 2 times 4 is plus 8, and 2 times minus 3 is minus 6x. So in answer to the question, let's delete some of this because there's a load of rubbish here now. In answer to the question, A is equal to, I'm going to write it over here, A is equal to 8, which is the number that's on its own, and B is 4 minus 6, so B is equal to minus 2. And that is going to be my final two answers. Really well put together, very easy to get wrong question. Quick intermission for me, so I'm breaking with a separate video I've recorded afterwards. This is a classic example of me not doing the thing I tell my students to do all the time. I've done the question, I found A, I found B, but of course that's not what the question wanted. The question wanted the coordinates of the point of A. So now I have my equation where I know what my A term is. That will also tell me the coordinates of A. So therefore A, which is the answer to the question, is going to be 0, 8. Question done. Sorry about the interruption. Back to where we were before. Next question. Right, I think I've seen this one before. It might just be about doing it in class recently, but it just rings a bit of a bell. Okay, what does it tell me? It tells me that A is equal to 4x. And then it says here that C is 125% more than A. So C is 2.25, which is 9 over 4. Let's just write 2.25. 2.25 times 4x. Why 2.25? Because if I'm doubling something, it's times 2. 100% is 2, 300% is 3, etc. So you add 1. So it's not 1.25, it's 2.25 is my multiplier. Similarly, I know that B is equal to 9x, and D, I should really read the whole question first, but anyway, D is 60% less than B. So in other words, it's 40% of B. So in other words, 4/10 of B, which is 9x. Now, I need to tidy both of these up before I do the next step. So let's tidy these up. So that means that C, calculator out again, is 2.25 times 4, which I think is 10. Oh, it's 9, which is 9x. And D is 0.4 times 9, which is 18 over 5x. Not the nicest of numbers, but it was fine. Then it's going to link the two together, isn't it? Yes, it is indeed. Then it says C is 162 greater than D. So in other words, C, which is 9x, equals D, which is 18 over 5x, plus 162. And basically, I've just got an equation, I solve it. So 9x is the same as, well, multiplied by 5 is 45. So that's going to be 45 over 5x minus 18 over 5x. I've moved this to the other side. is equal to 162. This could be a non-calculator question. It's just not a very nice one. I'm going to do it on my calculator. So 45 minus 18 is going to give me 27 over 5x. Okay, that just cancelled down, doesn't it? That's a bit nicer. So 27 over 5x is equal to 162, and 162 divided by 27 is 6, and 6 times 5 is 30, which means that x is equal to 30. Wow, good question. Really well designed sort of, as I say, ratio. It's not a ratio question, is it? But really well designed percentage type question. Next question, and I think the final question today. Now, we had one of these a few days ago. This is one of these all-in-one differentiation, modelling, solving, maximum, minimum type questions. They are really good to know. Do a few of these, you'll be much better at them. And if you're not already, do pause the video, have a look at the screen, give a go at this, make sure you're okay with it. They are typically set up in the same way. The way this is set up, it's going to start by giving you a piece of information, and that is the surface area is 300. That allows you to build a complete equation. And actually, that's what I think is going to happen here with this first question. In fact, I'm pretty sure. So I know the surface area, which is 300, is equal to, I'm going to zoom in a little bit because you can see what I'm doing there. So that's going to be, well, it's going to be, I've also just noticed as well, I should read the question properly, shouldn't I? Open top, so there's no surface area at the top. So it's going to be 2 lot of xy, which are the sides, plus, well, a front and a back, which is 2xy times 2, which is 4xy, plus the bottom, and there's only a bottom, there's no top, which is 2x times x, which is 2x squared. Collect this together, which means that I'm going to divide, no, let's collect together first. So that means that 300 is equal to 6xy plus 2x squared. What am I trying to show? I'm trying to do y equal, so I want to rearrange this. So that means that 6xy, I'm going to move 6x, no, let's do it the other way. So I'm going to move the 2x squared to the other side. I'm just trying to fit it all in. This is why I'm sort of keep pausing. So 2x squared to the other side is 6xy, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 6x. And I can already see where this is going because you can kind of see it building up as you go. So if I divide both sides by 6x, that means that y, 6xy divided by 6x, is equal to 300 over 6, which is 50, divided by x, because remember I'm dividing by 6x, that's going to be 50 over x. And minus 2 divided by 6 is a third, so minus a third. And x squared divided by x is x, so minus a third x, which is the same as the thing I'm looking for. Question done. So I kind of squeezed that in a bit more than I wanted to do there because the box isn't very big, but hopefully you got with what I did there. Again, pause it, work your way through. Really classic, good question this. Make sure you're okay with that. And by the way, if you are watching this doing international GCSE, that could be on your international GCSE as well. Next question. Show that the volume, so it's a now show that question, is this. Now again, really typical setup. Part 1, form an equation. Part 2, put the y into the other equation to find the volume. So I know my volume is going to be 2x times y, which is 2x squared times y. And I know y from up here is going to be, well, it's the thing I've just worked out. So that's going to be 2x squared times 50 over x minus x over 3. Now let's very carefully do this. So 2 times 50 is 100, and x squared over x is x, that's going to be 100x. And 2 over 3 is 2 over 3. And x squared times x is x cubed, and I've got what I wanted to. Excellent. And then final part of the question, use differentiation to find the value of x for which v is a maximum. So it doesn't say prove it, it just says differentiate it. So I'm going to differentiate dv with respect to dx. And that's going to give me 100 minus 2/3, bring down the 3 is 2, so 2x squared. And then I'm going to let that equal 0, which means that 2x squared is equal to 100. I thought it was going to give me 25 then, but it's not, is it? X squared is equal to 50, which means that x is equal to plus minus root 50. And then I'm going to do it over here, so I'm going to move over here. I'm going to say explicitly that x is greater than 0, which means that x is equal to the square root of 50. And in a question like this, I might give an answer just so I've written it down. So calculator out, root 50 is 5 root 2, or 7.07. So approximately 7.07, and x is a measurement in centimetres, so 7.07 centimetres. It just wants the x, doesn't want the value of v. That's it, happy. A really good mix of questions again today. That last differentiation question, typical problem question, makes you good at that. Either way, let me know how you did. Do like, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks all.